Good evening, everyone. I'm Rose Colosino with Indivisible, Illinois. I welcome you this evening, along with my organizing partners, Northwest Suburban OFA, Ballot Z, and the team. With the general election on April the 6th, we hope to improve on those numbers. So I'm thrilled to have the One Orland Party with us tonight. It's time for good governance to return to Illinois and to Orland Park. Enough of the drama, time for the government to serve the people and not vice versa. I want to wish a warm welcome to the candidates. Nick will introduce, and I will ask the candidates to introduce themselves. Nick, I turn it over to you.
All right, everybody. Hey, so many of you on the call know that I am from Orland Park. We have a lot going on out there lately, but we have a really great team coming together. The One Orland Party is really the right group of people to get us back on track. We have Dan McLaughlin, he's running for mayor, and 20 years ago, when my parents were figuring out where to move to, Orland Park was the place that they chose, and it was largely due to the work Dan McLaughlin did when he was mayor, growing the village from a small suburb to one of the largest ones in Illinois, diversifying our economy, also having great schools, expanding our parks. And over the last 4 years with the current mayor, we've seen us really moving in the wrong direction on a number of things. So I'm confident that Dan and the rest of our slate here tonight can really get us back on track in Orland, but I figure we can just turn it to them to outline some of the big priorities and what's coming down the pike in the next 6 weeks till Election Day. So I'm going to turn it to Dan McLaughlin.
Well, good evening, everybody. And I really want to thank all of you for all your help. And I want to give a shout out to Nick. Nick has been quietly behind the scenes running phone banks and Twitter storms, which I never heard of before. So Nick, I want to let you know we all appreciate all the work you're doing behind the scenes. It means a lot to us. I just got in from knocking on doors, and very good response again as usual. I kind of was startled because the very first door I knocked on tonight, there was a woman that said both her parents died within 3 weeks of each other from COVID back in, I think it was August or September of 2020. And at the time, she was promoting the mask wearing and all the rest of it. And the mayor was saying, we don't have a problem in Orland Park and masks are not needed. And he was, kind of going against the science. So she was saying at the time, Mayor Pekow was saying, we don't have a problem in Orland. Her two parents are dying within 3 weeks of each other. So that was the way I started tonight. I have been mayor for 24 years. I know you probably think I'm only about 40, right? No? All right. But I was mayor for a long time, and I'm proud of the record that we accomplished in those years. Almost $700 million in infrastructure and new facilities for the village. I started some unique environmental programs like our open lands program and Smart Living Orland Park. Started us on the way to things like our nature center. So I feel good about all that. And those I'm mentioning because we just found out today we were endorsed by the Sierra Club because they appreciate all the things we've done for the environment. So we're happy about that today too. So I have a lot of plans and ideas for moving the village forward. I really do think the village has been stagnant the last 3 or 4 years, virtually no economic development. Crime everywhere is on the rise, but there's some areas in Orland that I would call hotspots that nothing's being done about. Just in general, it just seems like there's so much to do, and I want to get back to work.
How would you help businesses emerge from this pandemic?
Well, I mean, your question opens the door to all kinds of comments. So let me say that Orland Square is our economic engine, has been for years. I started working to try and make it diversify our economic base so Orland Square wasn't our main engine. We appreciate Orland Square, but I really am nervous about having all our apples in one basket, if you know what I mean. So we started kind of setting the table and working our way to get the car dealers on 159th Street. We annexed property into the I-80 corridor to try and spur a different type of economic development down in the I-80 corridor, potentially office and research, maybe some manufacturing. What's unique about the I-80 corridor is it's actually in Orland Park, but it's in Will County as well. And Will County's property taxes are 2/3 less than Cook County. So then I started a downtown development because I've noticed, or, all my travels and involvement in other groups, most successful communities have some kind of a main street or a downtown or a river walk or some gathering place for the residents and visitors, pedestrian friendly mixed use type development. So I started a downtown development at 143rd and LaGrange, which was off to a good start, and even got University of Chicago to be part of it. When I left, we had a letter of intent on the next building in the downtown, which was going to have a high-end theater on the second floor. First floor was going to have Seasons 52, a very good restaurant, along with some other uses. And when he came in, he killed that project and started pushing for a theater at Orland Square, which I think is a mistake. So Orland Square, I think, for a lot of reasons, to kind of change with the times, which every business has to possibly solve a little bit of the safety and crime issue at Orland Square, and just to diversify things. I would love to work with Simon Development, offer some incentives and some assistance to try and remove the roof at Orland Square and make it an open air shopping center like Oak Brook. That's one thing that I think would help spur that area again, kind of bring it back to life. There's a lot of vacancies in Orland Square if you've walked around in there lately. But in terms of small businesses surviving through COVID, that's kind of a different story. A lot of the businesses in Orland are chains. So they get support, different types of support from the chain, joint advertising, joint purchasing, that kind of thing. So it's more of the family-owned mom and pop businesses I'd be interested in. And there's numerous ways we could have been, and we still can help them with some low interest or no interest loans. We could be helping them build outdoor eating facilities temporary while we're getting through COVID. In the last year, going against the governor's recommendations and science and the doctors, Mayor Pekow held an outdoor concert that lost 120 grand. Taste of Orland lost 200 grand. He was the only pool, a water park in the suburbs that left open for the summer, lost almost $1 million. Sued the governor and spent about $80,000 to $100,000 on suing the governor over COVID. You add that up and you've got about $1.5 million that has gone down the drain that could have been used to help small businesses get through this. No interest loans or low interest or no interest loans to help them keep payroll and keep people on staff, to help them build outdoor facilities for outdoor eating, to build partitions between booths and tables. We could have done all kinds of things to help our small businesses, but instead we chose to have large gatherings against recommendations and wasted about $1.5 million, in my opinion. So I don't know if that answered. I tried to touch on a whole bunch of points, but if that didn't answer, ask again.
Thank you. And I'm glad we're going to have that on video. That's a very comprehensive answer. It makes a lot of sense. And definitely that's the kind of leadership we need in Orland. I'm going to go ahead and give you another question, if that's okay. And I know this is something very important to young folks, Nick, Gretchen, and Amy, and I'm sure it should be for the rest of us as well, me included. What kind of things do you think need to be done for the environment at the local level?
Well, now you're kind of talking my specialty. I started years ago the open lands program in Orland Park, and that was unique in the sense that the kind of open lands program we created is something that usually counties do, not municipalities. So municipalities have parks, and we have a lot of parks. We have 60 parks. But in addition, I started the open lands program to save high quality open lands and heritage trees so that every inch of Orland Park wasn't built on. We started different ways of raising money to support that, the idea of buying properties. And while we had some luck with some of these small ideas, we weren't raising money fast enough. So I promoted a $20 million bond referendum. And the idea was to take that $20 million and match it up with state and federal grants. So a lot of times you can get grants to help with like an open lands purchase, and you have to come up with, 80%, they'll come up with 20%. But at least you can stretch that $20 million bond referendum into a lot more purchasing power. So we did the bond referendum. And as of when I left, I think we had purchased over 300 acres of quality land two farms, and one of them we chose to make a living history farm, the Stellwagen Farm. So that's kind of unique to be able to tell students and have students come out and visit, see how farming was done 100 years ago. I started on a long project to work with the owners of the property on LaGrange Road, about 140th or 141st. And we acquired that land to do a nature center. And just north of a part of the property is a wetland. And that wetland, if Rose, you've been out in Orland long enough, you probably remember, you go down LaGrange Road past that wetland certain times of the year, and it was like a landing spot for all the herons and egrets. And it was just hundreds, if not thousands of egrets and herons that gravitated to that place. And they're kind of gone because all the perches, all the trees that they would land on have all rotted in the wetlands and fallen and died. So my next step after starting the Nature Center was going to be, and maybe I can get back to it, is to put artificial perches in to try and attract those herons and egrets back. What else? I started Smart Living Orland Park, which was a program that received a lot of compliments on how comprehensive it was. My idea was to have as comprehensive a list as possible on what homeowners and small businesses can do to make their home or their business save energy, save water, just become very energy efficient. The program was called Smart Living Orland Park. We put such an extensive list together, and then we encouraged the public by saying that if they did 10 items on this list, they would get a sticker for their screen door. And then if they did 10 more items, they got something else. And so we tried to encourage people to take part in that. As far as I know, that's kind of dropped right now. What else? Shoot, I was just going to mention something. There's a couple other things we did.
Well, as you're thinking, I'll tell you that my temporary one-year residence here in Orland, once again, we're right by the farm, and I love running by the farm, and we need you back. We need you back to fulfill some of your plans for the environment.
Well, one of the things I do want to do if I get back, and I do expect to win and get back, I want to start. Orland Park does not allow bees, and I happen to be a beekeeper. So I want to look for kind of best practices in the suburbs that do allow bees, and write an ordinance that allows bees. And then I want to encourage people and have the village plant pollination gardens for the butterflies and bees. So that's kind of something I'm looking forward to getting back into. I believe we're the only town to have 3-tier water pricing. So where the rest of the world goes by the more pens you buy, the less you pay per pen. In Orland, the less water you use, the less you pay per gallon, because we're trying to encourage people to save water and use less water. So we basically reward them with a lower price when they reach certain levels. So it's something that we're unique in that area. And I wanted to double up on what Amy said in terms of attracting young people. The downtown, that's part of the purpose for that. Young people want walkable spaces. And everything in Orland is big parking lots, and you have to drive from one place to the other. This is designed to be a walkable area. So I'm excited about that. And you will hear occasionally controversy about this downtown because people don't quite understand it. But if you're really interested in knowing more, on our website, I wrote about 4 or 5 years ago, I wrote a white paper explaining the downtown, what was behind it, how we did it, the money behind it, the reasoning, it covers a lot of area, but it's like 20 pages. So a lot of people don't want to read it. But if you want to know more about our downtown and what's behind it, check out the white paper, because I think it kind of sums up a lot. But anyway, so thanks to everybody for helping. I feel pretty good about our chances in April. And I especially like the idea that you guys are helping with stuff that I'm not that good at. I've never been part of a Twitter storm, I got to tell you. So I appreciate all your help. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dan. I think One Orland is the future, and this city girl might even consider staying in Orland if this slate gets into office. Who knows?